Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Congress is disintegrating one senior member at a time. The latest one to abandon the sinking ship is Ghulam Nabi Azad. For a man who has worked with Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, to leave the party on the day he completes 50 years with the party is definitely a sign for the Congress to read. Ghulam Nabi Azad quitting from the Congress was long time coming, but the day he chose to sever his ties reveals what it really means for the party. An immature Rahul Gandhi has demolished the existing consultative mechanism in the party was Azad's message. He minced no words when track record of the Gandhis and reminded the party that they have lost 39 out of the 49 assembly elections under Rahul Gandhi's leadership. Sonia Gandhi is just a figurehead. An organizational election process is a farce and a sham, Ghulam Nabi Azad has said in his 5-page letter. The most scathing attack against Rahul Gandhi came halfway through his 5-page resignation letter, where Ghulam Nabi Azad not only spoke of the remote control culture that ended UPA reign at the centre, but highlighted how Rahul Gandhi called the shots despite being just a figurehead. What's even worse is Azad claiming that not just Rahul Gandhi, but his security guards and personal assistants remote controlled the party. When I spoke with Ghulam Nabi Azad this morning, he made it clear that he hadn't dumped the Congress for any other political party. He asserted that he will float his own party, which will start its journey from his home state of Jammu and Kashmir, where a local leader will head the party and then take a national shape, with him being their national face. But those close to the first family of the Congress party jumped in to call these allegations a case of sour grapes. Their instant response was to malign the man who's given 50 years, half a century to this party. Listen in.
राहुल गांधी जी अपने हिसाब से किस प्रकार मैं कांग्रेस आगे ले जाऊं, उनकी अपनी सोच होगी। जो इन्होंने कहा आज, अभी तो मैं खुद सदमे में हूं। एक ऐसा 42 साल का जिसको सब कुछ मिला जिंदगी के अंदर, आज वो ये मैसेज दे रहे हैं जैसे कि जो मेरी समझ के परे हैं।
Entire Congress party organization is engaged in confronting, combating, fighting the BJP. It's most unfortunate, most regrettable that at this point of time we have had to read this letter.
It is like a pot calling kettle black. And who were in the helm of affairs in the Congress party for almost 5 decades.
Today, suddenly he becomes holier than thou. This is the man whose remote control is with Mr. Narendra Modi. We all saw how Mr. Modi shed tears for the first and perhaps the last time in his life for Ghulam Nabi Azad.
This very sycophancy of the coterie has driven the G23 away from the party. Many of them have openly voiced their concerns for over 2 years now, but unfortunately, there has been no consensus on how to resolve these issues. More often than not, the party has outrightly dismissed them. How can you find a solution when you don't even acknowledge the existence of a problem? Listen in to those who were once pillars of the party but now have revolted against the Darbari.
If you read the Ghulam Nabi Azad letter and the letter I wrote in 2015, you will get lot of similarity. Everybody knows that Rahul Gandhi is an immature, whimsical and unpredictable leader. As a result, what happened? The people who were loyal to the party or who are loyal to the party, they are deserting one by one.
This situation was entirely avoidable, considering the fact that there have been many serious discussions. The understanding was not honored.
The Indian National Congress decision-making body is now coterie heavy, cabal heavy and not well-meaning leaders heavy. The well-meaning leaders, people who give their blood and sweat, selflessly work for the Congress party, are being in a very systematic and a sinister manner being elbowed out of the party.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the legitimate question on the news hour. Is Rahul Gandhi remote controlling Congress ruin? That's the question, and that's the debate.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, Suhel Seth, author and columnist, Vivek Bansal, member of the CWC, will join us in just a bit. Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress party, also with us. But my first question goes to Acharya Pramod Krishnam, senior leader of the Congress party, with me in the studio tonight. Acharya ji, सीधा सवाल है, 50 साल के बाद अगर कोई इंसान इस तरह की चिट्ठी लिखता है तो या तो उसका दिल टूट गया कोशिशें करने के बावजूद जब कुछ सुधरा नहीं, और दूसरी बात कि अब वो अपने आत्मसम्मान, अपनी सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट से समझौता करने के मूड में नहीं है। इनमें से कौन सी बात सही है, और क्या ये सच है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी राहुल गांधी के सिक्योरिटी गार्ड और पीए चलाते हैं?
देखिए नाविका जी, पहली बात तो यह है कि गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब के कांग्रेस पार्टी छोड़कर जाने से मुझे बड़ी तकलीफ है, क्योंकि गुलाम नबी आज़ाद इतने सीनियर लीडर थे कि उन्होंने इंदिरा गांधी जी के साथ काम किया, राजीव जी के साथ काम किया, नरसिम्हा राव जी के साथ काम किया, सीताराम केसरी जी के साथ भी काम किया, और फिर सोनिया जी के साथ भी काम किया, और राहुल जी के साथ भी बहुत काम किया। अब सवाल है कि घर का इतना सीनियर मेंबर, इतना परिवार का बड़ा सदस्य जाता है छोड़ करके घर को, तो तकलीफ तो होती है। तो मैं बिल्कुल ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब चले गए हैं तो हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, उन्हें जाना है तो चले जाए, मैं बिल्कुल इस पक्ष में नहीं हूं। मैं हाँ, इतना जरूर है कि वो अब पार्टी छोड़कर चले गए हैं, उसका अफसोस तो है हमें, लेकिन वो अगली अपनी पार्टी बनाएं, आगे जाके अगली पारी कैसे खेलें, किसी पार्टी को ज्वाइन करें, ये उनका फैसला होगा, और अब मैं उन्हें भविष्य की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। दूसरी बात यह है कि जो आपने सवाल उठाया कि कांग्रेस पार्टी के लीडरशिप पर, कांग्रेस पार्टी की जो सिस्टम है उस पर, जो आज़ाद साहब ने अपनी चिट्ठी में बात लिखी है, तो उनकी कुछ बात से मैं बिल्कुल सहमत नहीं हूं, और कुछ बात से मैं सहमत हूं। उनकी एक दो बातें हैं जिनसे मैं सहमत नहीं हूं, वो ये हैं कि गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब अगर ये कहते हैं कि अभी कांग्रेस के जो फैसले थे, लीडरशिप के जो फैसले थे, वो लीडरशिप ना लेकर के और एक कोटरी लेती थी, तो ये एक सवाल खड़ा होगा कि ये तो बहुत दिन से हो रहा था, क्योंकि उन्होंने लिखा, तो ये
सही है?
नहीं, खुद गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब ने लिखा है कि 2013 के बाद से, तो 13 से यानी कि 10 साल लगभग हो गया, तो गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब को ये बात 14 में, 15 में, 16 में, 17 में, 18 में, 19 में, 20 में ये बात उठानी चाहिए थी, लेकिन उन्होंने ये बात कब उठाई? 2021 में उठाई, 9-10 साल के बाद, जब एक कुछ लोगों ने चिट्ठी लिखी कांग्रेस हाईकमान को। तो मुझे लगता है कि उनकी चिट्ठी पर जिस संजीदगी के साथ, जिस गंभीरता के साथ विचार होना चाहिए था, वो विचार भी हुआ, मगर उस पर जो फैसले लिए जाने चाहिए थे या जो फैसले लिए गए थे उनमें उनका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन अगर नहीं हुआ तो ये एक सवाल खड़ा होता है, और ये कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेतृत्व को इस पर चिंतन करना चाहिए।
कौन सी बात उन्होंने गलत कही है? क्या ये गलत कहा कि राहुल गांधी ने ऑर्डिनेंस फाड़ दिया तो वहां से पतन शुरू हुआ, जबकि वो ऑर्डिनेंस का जो डिसीजन है कांग्रेस की कोर कमेटी में हुआ था, उसके बाद सरकार की कैबिनेट से पास हुआ था, मनमोहन सिंह प्रधानमंत्री देश से बाहर थे और उन्होंने एक बचकाना हरकत करते हुए इसे पब्लिक में फाड़ दिया था, यहां से पतन शुरू हुआ। क्या आप इस बात के साथ सहमत हैं?
नहीं, बिल्कुल। देखिए, ये बात बिल्कुल आप ठीक कह रही हैं कि जिस समय मनमोहन सिंह जी प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे और एक ऑर्डिनेंस जारी हुआ था, तो उस ऑर्डिनेंस को जब फाड़ा गया था तो ये कांग्रेस पार्टी के अंदर ये बात उठी थी कि कुछ लोग इस मत के थे कि ये ऑर्डिनेंस को फाड़ना जो है ये कांग्रेस को नुकसान देगा। और कुछ लोग थे कि भाई नहीं ठीक है, जो हो गया वो हो गया, राहुल जी हमारे भविष्य के नेता हैं। तो कांग्रेस पार्टी के अंदर जो ये वर्तमान जो राजनीतिक परिदृश्य है उसमें एक बात तो चल रही है नाविका जी, कि जो सीनियर लीडर्स हैं वो, उनकी ये शिकायत है कि भाई जो फैसला लेने वाले जो लोग हैं वो उनका सम्मान नहीं कर रहे। लेकिन ये बात आज की नई नहीं है, ये तो बहुत पुराने से आवाज उठ रही है और उसका हमें नुकसान हो रहा है। मगर ये इस पर निर्णय करना, इस पर फैसला लेना, ये तो लीडरशिप का काम है। मैं फिर अपील करता हूं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी को इस वक्त बहुत मजबूत होने की जरूरत है। और उस समय जबकि भारत जोड़ो आंदोलन शुरू हो रहा है तो उस समय गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब का पार्टी छोड़ के जाना बहुत बेहद अफसोसजनक है। मगर अब वो चले गए तो अब कांग्रेस पार्टी के लीडरशिप को, कांग्रेस पार्टी नेतृत्व को, और खास तौर से जो सवाल गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब ने उठाए हैं तो उन पर चिंतन करने की जरूरत तो है।
चिंतन करने की जरूरत है और ये चिंतन चल रहा है, पिछले 8-9 सालों से चिंतन चल रहा है। लेकिन शहजाद पूनावाला, इस चिट्ठी से, दिस लेटर एक्चुअली सेज व्हाट राहुल गांधी यूज्ड टू से, पॉइंटिंग अ फिंगर एट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर. He has said that the Prime Minister runs this country, or the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a leader. Today what do we see? That the world report on the popularity of the Prime Minister gives him 75% more than any other leader, and Rahul Gandhi is being accused by his own senior leader who spent half a century in his party, that Rahul Gandhi is the actual dictator because he has the remote control. Sonia Gandhi may be the president, but the party is being run by the coterie around Rahul Gandhi.
You know, this letter, this is not a Tyag Patra, it is a Samapan Satra of Parivarvad. Because first, in Mahatma Gandhi's days, the party used to function like a Parivar. In Rahul Gandhi's days, the 2.5 people of the Parivar have become the party. And therefore, I do not call INC as Indian National Congress, I call it I Need Chamchas, or you can call it All India Chamcha Committee. Because the Congress party does not like anybody who's Azad. They like Gulam-Darbari. Agar Darbari ho, agar Gulami karo, agar Parivar ki jai gaate raho, तब तो ठीक है. Now look at the issues flagged by Ghulam Nabi, and this is not just by Ghulam Nabi Azad. A series of leaders, 150 odd leaders, and I think you have interviewed maximum number, from Hemanta Biswa Sarma to Ashwani Kumar to others, all have said the same thing, including the small Shehzad Poonawalla 5 years ago. What were the 5 issues that we highlighted? No internal election. Rahul Gandhi पूरे देश में election करते, no internal election. For 50 years no election, only selection and tajposhi. Secondly, no internal democracy. पूरे देश में राहुल गांधी से democracy लोकतंत्र मुक्त कर रखा है कांग्रेस पार्टी को. नो साइन ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी इज डेड इन कांग्रेस पार्टी. थर्डली, नो अकाउंटेबिलिटी, ओनली बाय रिमोट कंट्रोल. सरकार चलानी हो, पार्टी चलानी हो, ओनली रिमोट कंट्रोल विल वर्क. फोर्थ, नो परफॉर्मेंस, ओनली परिवारवाद. वी हैव वन ऑफ द बेस्ट बिजनेस एंड कॉर्पोरेट strategists in form of Suhel Seth. Any corporate organization, if the CEO does not perform, he will be fired within 1 year. This is the man who 39 out of 49 elections he makes you lose and still say Rahul ji ko lao, Rahul ji ko lao, Rahul ji ko lao. Ya Rahul ji nahi to sister ko lao, sister ne to aur bhi duba diya party ko. And finally, fifth point is that look, these are the people who say that we have neta, netritva, we are committed to no ideology, no neta, no netritva, no party, only beta bachao. Party gayi bhaad mein, only neta bachao, and therefore this party is not even able to win an election in Amethi. And therefore till the time they don't realize to the reality, they do not wake up to the reality, इस पार्टी का कुछ नहीं होगा. They should forget भारत जोड़ो, they should start परिवार छोड़ो. जब परिवार छोड़ेंगे तब ये इनके साथ भारत जुड़ेगा.
Well, Suhel Seth, I want to ask you, it's been writing on the wall for many years, and we've been discussing it in the media, you know, on social media, in drawing rooms. Everybody has been discussing the issue of the decline of the Congress party, and leadership within the Congress party recognizes it. It isn't as if it doesn't recognize it. On many occasions people have raised these issues, you know, but ultimately there is no decision that comes forth. There is absolutely no decision that gets taken, and it's more of the same that we see, despite the fact that several senior leaders, several leaders of Rahul Gandhi's generation who walked into parliament with him in 2004, and I remember the day when people like Jyotiraditya Scindia or Sachin Pilot or Jiten Prasada or Milind Deora used to be walking with Rahul Gandhi, and and each one of them today has just lost himself somewhere. Some have quit the party, some have taken a back seat. I'll take that question to Mr. Bansal. Despite the pointing out of the issues within the Congress party, the fact is no decisions ever been taken. What is it that's stopping the party from taking a decision? What is the problem with the Congress party that it does not want to address its own issues within and doesn't want to find a solution to the non-performance of Mr. Rahul Gandhi?
You see, when you say that decisions are not being taken in the party, I beg to differ on that, because from time to time, very relevant decisions have been taken. And what you mean by decisions not being taken? You see, when we have to raise a voice against the present government, strategy is worked out. Rahul Gandhi happens to be part of it. As far as the leadership is concerned, Rahul Gandhi is very clear. You see, people tend to blame that we are trying to thrust the leadership on Gandhis or Rahul Gandhi, but he's very, very categorical. Since last 3 years, he says that somebody from non-Gandhi should come. So I think to just being critical of him, that he's not being able to deliver, definitely he has a setup. He has a way of thinking. He's a very straightforward and he wants to do things. He's very clear-headed. Maybe it's not in sync with the rank and file of the party workers or what they want, but he's very clear. Now, like
clear to whom? If he's not clear to the rank and file of the party, then who is he clear to, sir?
Not to people of Amethi.
Hello?
Sir, who is he clear to if the rank and file of the party, you know, they are not clear about where Mr. Rahul Gandhi and his leadership is going?
No, they are very clear. They are still hanging. They still talk about Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi has the respect as well as the admiration of the party people. Let me tell you that leaders may be dissatisfied on some account of the other or the other because they are not getting some other coveted positions which they aspire for. So there may be differences. And you see, success has many fathers, failure is an orphan. So at this point of time, the mood of the nation is different. Not in sync with what the Congress ethos says, what the Congress legacy says. So it is because of this.
My friend Mr. Bansal, it is the legacy of the Congress also that has walked out with Ghulam Nabi Azad tonight, because 50 years in the Congress party is the legacy longer than anybody else presently in the Congress party. Suhel Seth, Mr. Bansal says rank and file of the party believes in Rahul Gandhi. There is no problem within the Congress party. Sab kuch theek hai. It's just a matter of coincidence that several leaders have left and gone, from Himanta Biswa Sarma, Sushmita Dev, Jiten Prasada. It's just a coincidence. Log aate hain, log jaate hain.
I think Mr. Bansal is absolutely... Mr. Bansal, did I interrupt you? Now just keep quiet and listen to me, because both your logic and your intellect were flawed. Just listen to me.
All right.
Listen to me.
Suhel Seth is responding to the power question.
Listen to me, Mr. Bansal. Listen to me. The more you speak, the bigger hole you will dig for Rahul Gandhi. So let me start and finish. I didn't interrupt you. Now here are 3-4 things I'm going to say. Mr. Bansal is absolutely right. Rahul Gandhi is admired by many. They are mostly in the BJP because they want him to remain in the Congress if the BJP has to continue to be on a winning spree. Number 2, Mr. Bansal, leaders are made leaders when they have followers. They don't need admirers. They need people who are willing to die for them, not people who are willing to resign because of them. Number 3, it is very critical, and here, Navika, I will make 2 distinctive points. You know, I don't belong to any political dispensation. What Ghulam Nabi Azad has done today is sacrilegious and the worst form, to my mind, of any kind of loyalty / betrayal. I'll tell you why. This man would have never left the Congress had his Rajya Sabha seat been extended or been revitalized. He has left because he has no role to play. Let's be honest. You know, for him now to say in a 5-page letter that the Congress is ruined, and you were part of the ruination. Where were you? Did you ever object before when you were in Rajya Sabha that there's a coterie? It is not unique that the coterie. You remember Indira Gandhi used to have the famous kitchen cabinet. Ramesh Thapa and all these people were part of the kitchen cabinet. So this is not new. The Congress is run like a kitchen. The Congress is run like a family kitchen. But Ghulam Nabi Azad knew this. It's not that Ghulam Nabi Azad suddenly appeared out of a cave after 50 years to say, oh my God, the party has changed. So I have no, sympathy for Ghulam Nabi Azad. But now coming to the Congress. See, all of you think that Rahul Gandhi is a listener. He is a non-cognitive human being. So we have ears. If there is noise, we are technically hearing because we have ears. But do we listen? Listening is a cognitive function. Rahul Gandhi may not ever be able to spell cognitive, but neither is he a cognitive listener. The problem is not that. My worry is for two people on this panel. Mr. Bansal, though, we will cast aside for the moment because he is very erudite and a highly intellectualized person. My worry is for two bright people called Acharya ji and my good friend Mr. Jindal. I worry for them every evening. You know why? They come here, they say so many nice things with so much of profuse and profound logic, and they are defending imbeciles who are part of their ecosystem. I worry for them. I mean, I can imagine poor Lokesh going out and his friend saying, yaar, fir tum defend kar hai. I worry for Lokesh. He's a young man. Look at him. He has not one strand of grey hair. Acharya ji is slightly younger than me. I worry for him also. A man of his erudition and intellect, every evening he has to come and defend dolts. Now, you can defend a dolt once, twice, thrice. Every day you can't be defending the indefensible. Acharya ji made two very interesting points. Number one, he says he is personally upset about Ghulam Nabi Azad. And I'm not saying this to flatter him. This is a man. This is what happens when people leave. You accept and you say, yes, I'm sad that this man has gone. You don't start abusing the man. You don't start now finding faults with him. You don't, when Mark Antony asked Brutus, why did you stab Caesar in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar? He said, it's not that I loved. No, it's not that I loved Caesar less. I loved Rome more. The point Acharya ji rightly made today is that he's sad to see a congressman go. The congressmen who are abusing Ghulam Nabi Azad are following the same trap as Ghulam Nabi Azad. Now I come to the second point. Between you and me, I have a great amount of regard for the Congress because all said and done, they were at the vanguard of our freedom movement. They have ruled this country. You may abuse them, do whatever, but they were also as elected as Prime Minister Modi is. The decline of the Congress party is worrying for democracy. I'm not concerned about whether it's worrying for the Gandhi family. Families will come and go. Rahul Gandhi should see himself as a custodian of a legacy of trust and a legacy of leadership. Today, he's a pale shadow of himself. And he's not helped by people like Mr. Bansal, who say, oh, but everyone loves Rahul. I mean, everyone loves Rahul. Obviously, the electorate doesn't, because if the electorate did love Rahul, he would be in power. My point is, everyone should stop being in denial. Please don't praise Ghulam Nabi Azad as this visionary who has woken up after a 50-year run with the Congress to suddenly decide everything is wrong. Jate aadmi har insan ko gali deke jata hai. The second is the Lokeshs, the Acharyajis of the world should use this as an opportunity to redefine the parameters of leadership within the Congress. If the two of you don't do it and people like you don't do it, then, and you remain in denial, my friends, you are only creating more damage to the Rahul.
To that, let me take that question to Lokesh Jindal, but to that I'll also say, Suhel Seth, that Ghulam Nabi Azad did try. The G23 did try, and he lists what they did. After the letter was written, even Kapil Sibal, who has fought so many cases for the Congress party of their various acts of omissions and commissions, in the word of Ghulam Nabi Azad, they sent gundas to his house.
Navika, there is no more astute a political observer than you. Now I'm asking you, and you also be honest. Sometimes be honest on television. I'm asking you today, if Ghulam Nabi Azad had remained a Rajya Sabha member of the Congress party, would he have resigned? हाँ या ना में आप जवाब दें प्लीज।
Well, Suhel Seth, the good thing about anchoring a show, the good thing about anchoring a show is that you are not on the receiving end of questions, you are on the receiving end of answers, and therefore I'll pass that question to Lokesh Jindal. And Lokesh Jindal, it's not for me. If he was given a Rajya Sabha seat, whether he would be in there or not. I'm more concerned about the facts that he writes in his letter, and if gundas are sent to senior leaders when they are trying to resurrect the party, then is this a party that wants to be resurrected, is my question I'm asking Lokesh Jindal.
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my panelists. Navika, I read the letter that was written by Shri Nabi Azad ji, and over there when he writes that Rahul Gandhi is not reachable, I would not agree to that, because apart from all this, let me tell you an incident in 2014. The 2013 UPSC had just come up with certain major reforms in the nature of the examination, and students were not happy. So what happened was, in 2014, all the students, they came outside the residence of Rahul Gandhi and they asked for justice. And what happened, they got it. Rahul Gandhi came out, met all the students, morning there was tea, and immediately a letter was written to the UPSC. UPSC gave 2 additional attempts to all the students. Now when you're talking about Rahul Gandhi, he is the leader of the youth.
कौन से सन में? कौन से सन की बात करें? Which century?
2014 February.
अच्छा. Okay.
And
they were in government.
I'm talking about
they were in government. They had no option but to hear and correct.
You wanted them to go and meet Mayawati. That time Rahul Gandhi's mother and the Congress party were running India.
Union of India.
And it's chairperson Rahul
Gandhi. We as youth, we see Rahul Gandhi as the savior of this particular country. Now we do not want this country to become another Taliban. Now when Shehzad tells about Parivarvad, how can he forget about Hum Do Hamare Do, which is right now ruling the center? How can you simply justify the apathy with which the present ruling government simply discards out the plight of the poor and keeps on favoring the corporate class?
Is there a Hum Do which is Narendra Modi and Amit Modi at the center, or is it Amit Shah and Narendra Shah at the center? They are colleagues. And colleagues can get together to run a party and a government.
When Shehzad Poonawalla starts pitching upon the Parivarvad, why does he forget Hum Do Hamare Do culture that is brewing in BJP? When he talks about non-democracy in Congress, he wants to present that BJP is all democratic.
Okay. You raised the question of Parivarvad. He is addressing the Hum Do Hamare Do.
Navika, let me clarify what is Parivarvad. Navika is doing Newshour at 9 p.m. Navika's son says that even I will do Newshour at 9 p.m. That is Parivarvad. If Navika's son is talented and goes into journalism, that's not Parivar. By the way, there is no reservation for the top post of Prime Ministership or of the party president. In our party, last 30 years, pick up and see who's been the president. Na kisi ka beta, na kisi ka bhai, na kisi ka pota, na kisi ka bhatija. But Congress party, the top post is reserved for one family, JDS for one family, Akhilesh Yadav for one family, RJD for one family. This is the difference between Parivarvad, and this is the difference between those who are only on Vikaswad and on hard work.
Well. If Mr. Rahul Gandhi was working with, let's say, Milind Deora or Jyotiraditya Scindia, would we call it Hum Do Hamare Do or Parivarvad? We would not call it. But I want to ask the question about raising of issues and why they haven't been addressed. And Acharya ji, I will ask you and put a hand on your heart today. आज सच कह ही दीजिए. उदयपुर में आपने भी तो कोशिश की थी, ऐसी उड़ती उड़ती खबर आई थी कि आपने भी कुछ ऐसी बातें कही जो पार्टी में सुधार लाने की बातें थी. आपका क्या किया? उन्होंने स्वागत किया या अपमान किया?
देखिए नाविका जी, जो चिंतन शिविर में सवाल उठे थे तो उनको ज़्यादा यहाँ कहना तो उचित नहीं होगा, लेकिन हाँ, मैंने 2-3 बातें रखी थी. मैंने पहली बात ये रखी थी कि राजस्थान में जब 2018 में चुनाव हुआ था तो उस समय प्रदेश का अध्यक्ष सचिन पायलट थे और मध्य प्रदेश में कमलनाथ जी थे और छत्तीसगढ़ में भूपेश बघेल थे, जहां तीनों जगह सरकार बनी, दो जगह चीफ मिनिस्टर प्रदेश अध्यक्ष को बनाया, लेकिन सचिन पायलट जी को चीफ मिनिस्टर नहीं बनाया गया। तो उनके साथ थोड़ा सा उनके कार्यकर्ता मान रहे हैं कि नाइंसाफी हुई है, उनको वहां बदलाव लाना चाहिए। एक तो ये मेरा गुनाह था। दूसरा, इस पे जोड़ के देखा गया कि साहब आचार्य प्रमोद कृष्णम जो है वो बवाल कर रहे हैं, लड़ाई कर रहे हैं। मैंने कहा भाई सचिन पायलट भी हमारे हैं तो उनको बना देना चाहिए, और एंटी इनकम्बेंसी जो है वो भी खत्म हो जाएगी, और एक नए चेहरा जो राहुल जी का सपना है कि भी नए लोगों को आगे लाओ, वो भी फुलफिल हो जाएगा। दूसरा, मैंने कहा कि अगर राहुल जी कांग्रेस की अध्यक्षता स्वीकार नहीं करते हैं तो देश का सबसे पॉपुलर चेहरा जो है वो प्रियंका गांधी है, और प्रियंका गांधी को कांग्रेस की अध्यक्षता उनकी कमान सौंप देनी चाहिए। ये दो बात तो ये थी। तीसरी बात ये थी,
इस पर क्या कहा पार्टी ने?
तीसरी बात और सुन लीजिएगा।
प्रियंका गांधी वाड्रा पर क्या कहा पार्टी ने?
नहीं, सबने मेरी बात सुनी, लेकिन उसमें कुछ पार्टी के नेता ऐसे थे, उन्होंने मुझे भी सिद्ध कर दिया कि आचार्य प्रमोद कृष्णम तो बीजेपी में जाना चाहते हैं, परिवार में लड़ाई करना चाहते हैं। ये सब जो वाहियात जो लोग हैं, कुछ ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी में कुछ लोगों का जमावाड़ा। अभी विवेक बंसल जी हैं, मैं बड़ा प्यार करता हूं, ये मेरा बड़ा सम्मान करते हैं, बहुत वरिष्ठ नेता हैं, मैं 20-30 साल से हम लोगों का संबंध है। ये हरियाणा के प्रभारी थे, राज्यसभा का चुनाव हुआ, एक वोट जो है क्रॉस वोट हो गया, तो वहां अजय माकन जी भी कांग्रेस के बड़े नेता हैं और विवेक बंसल जी भी, और दोनों ही एआईसीसी के महत्वपूर्ण पदाधिकारी हैं। अजय माकन जी ने पब्लिक डोमेन में कहा कि साहब प्रभारी महामंत्री उसमें इन्वॉल्व है, और विवेक बंसल जी ने सफाई दी। तो कांग्रेस लीडरशिप का और वहां पार्टी का ये हक बनता था कि अगर विवेक बंसल जी की गलती है तो इनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होती, और अगर विवेक बंसल जी सही है तो अजय माकन जी के खिलाफ कार्रवाई होती, बट कहीं कुछ नहीं है। तो ये सारे सवाल हैं जो हमें डिस्कस करने पड़ेंगे। हम सच से मुंह मोड़ करके इस डेमोक्रेसी के अंदर और इन दिस सिनेरियो, ये ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ हो रहा तो बात पता नहीं चलेगी। आज तो एक सेकंड में अगर हम खांसते भी हैं तो कश्मीर से कन्याकुमारी तक बात फैल जाती है। तो अब वो जमाना गया कि जो अंदर अंदर कुछ हो रहा है। आज जो गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब की चिट्ठी है, मैं बिल्कुल सवाल खड़ा करता हूं इस बात पे कि गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब इस सिस्टम के हिस्सा थे, तो ये चिट्ठी उन्हें पहले लिखनी चाहिए थी, ये आवाज उन्हें उठानी चाहिए थी, लेकिन उस चिट्ठी में उठाए गए मुद्दे बेकार हैं। मैं इससे बिल्कुल सहमत नहीं हूं। उन मुद्दों पर चिंतन होना चाहिए।
You've been named. The question is directly at you. Respond to the charge.
You see, there are certain things which need not be made public, but definitely there is a system in the party where we ventilate our grievances, or where we discuss all these things. So, not that this issue was not addressed, this was addressed, and at the appropriate time, decision was to be taken. And the party leadership had listened to all the aspects, all the stakeholders in that. They had given a patient hearing. Let me tell you that, and they shared what I said, what I had to say. And
so, what decision was taken? So, what decision was taken?
Party functions on certain set norms. We don't have to air our differences.
So
here I agree with Mr. Pramod Krishnan that somehow whatever Mr. Ajay Makan had said, that whatever his grievances may be, he have been justified. But there is a system in the party that there was no need. It didn't behove him to address these things in public. Here I agree. But party leadership had addressed this issue, had listened to us, and whatever they had to say, they told us for that.
Just 5 seconds. On this issue, Ajay Makan lost his Lok Sabha election. He lost his deposit in the Vidhan Sabha election. He got 0 seats for the Congress party in 2015 when he was Pradesh Adhyaksh, and yet he was given the Rajya Sabha nomination. Randeep Surjewala lost his deposit, yet he was given Rajya Sabha nomination. And Priyanka Vadra, I want to ask Mr. Bansal, sir, you took the resignation of all the 5 Pradesh Adhyaksh. Priyanka Vadra got your vote share from 7 down to 2. You lost 1 Lok Sabha seat in 2019. Today, on the basis of performance, please put your hand on heart. Why is Priyanka Vadra still the General Secretary? What is her capacity?
You see, why she is General Secretary or why, that is the internal system of the party. If somebody had taken a responsibility, PCC
president... तो बंसल साहब एक छोटी सी बात कह दीजिए कि राहुल गांधी जी जो मोदी जी को हिटलर बुलाते हैं वो तो बंद कर दें, क्योंकि हिटलर तो आपकी अपनी पार्टी में अंदर है, डिक्टेटरशिप तो आपकी पार्टी में अंदर है।
देखिए आप मैडम, you would agree with me, in our party we can leaders are able to say so many things over a period of time.
होता कुछ नहीं है, कह सकते हैं
after they leave.
23 had been airing their differences for a long time.
Okay.
No action. So party was there was a window to
Suhel Seth has been raising his hand. Suhel Seth, I want to bring in a future issue, an upcoming issue, which was also the reason for Ghulam Nabi Azad's exit. And I am saying from my political experience that if Ashok Gehlot would have been made the party president or working president or whatever is the nomenclature, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad and several senior leaders would not have wanted to work under him, and that is an indication that is very much there in this letter where he says, in the new system, puppeteers are going to be put there. And as Acharya ji said, the puppeteer, even if he comes to Delhi, will remain a puppet because he doesn't want Sachin Pilot to become a chief minister even if Ashok Gehlot comes to Delhi. Now that is the situation in the Congress party, and we are talking about democracy in the Congress party.
Now, see again, Mr. Bansal is interrupting. Whenever you ask me a question, he speaks. My name is not Vivek Bansal. Let me finish. And I want no interruption because I'm going to say something which will have...
Bansal Saab, Suhel Seth has a question for you. Please listen to him.
These guys can't win an election. They only interrupt. Let me finish. See,
Bansal Saab, you can't be heard. 1 minute. Just pause for a minute and listen to Suhel's question.
One minute. Let me tell you what's going to happen. This is, if you watched Hindi movies in the good old days, Ajit used to talk about liquid oxygen. Liquid isko jeene nahi dega, oxygen isko marne nahi dega. The Congress is in a liquid oxygen situation.
Who's the liquid and who's the oxygen?
Can you figure out? It changes, it keeps changing. Now here's the thing. Many years ago, I asked a very senior Congress person, I said, why the hell don't you guys throw the Gandhis out? His response was, they are the Fevicol, they are the glue that binds the party, as an alluding to what you just said. Trust me, Fevicol performs better, is far cheaper and causes less damage to a democracy. Having said that, I don't think this party can recover in its current form. Today is a quasi-Kamraj moment. This party is headed for implosion. Is it good for India? No. Is it good for democracy? Never is. We need an active, robust opposition. The other problem is that this is a Raja or Rank ki kahani. Rank nahi तय करता कि राजा कब उनसे बात करेगा. वो राजा तय करता है. The Congress says we have been treated as a family. That is utter rubbish. It is a Raja Rank ki kahani. Let me tell you, let me challenge anyone here, including the G23. You said the G23 raised issues. Of course they raised issues. Were those issues addressed? They were not addressed. Why the hell did they not resign then? So they don't have the spunk to resign unless they are forced to resign because of a personal issue. Which brings me to my final point. The Congress lives for itself in today's world. Today's Congress is not a Congress for India. It's a Congress for itself. The Gandhis are treating this as an HUF property. They're not treating this as a grand old party with a legacy dating pre-independence. That's the problem. When you start treating things as heirlooms, you dissipate the value that they should intrinsically bring to today's environment. They're out of sync. And my last point, Modi and Amit Shah are politicians. They're not philosophers. They're not running an NGO. Rahul Gandhi is increasingly becoming the chairperson of an NGO. He has to decide whether the Congress will be a non-governmental organization or will the Congress one day strive to be in government.
That's an important question.
He makes the distinction between NGO and forming government. We are in trouble. I mean, he's in trouble.
नाविका जी मैं एक और इम्पोर्टेंट बात कहना चाहता हूँ.
नहीं, पर एनजीओ बन रही है क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी? क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट में तो आ नहीं रही.
कि बन रही है. He can't deny it. इन्होंने कितनी बार कहा है.
नहीं, ये सवाल पार्टी के भीतर भी उठ रहा है और इस सवाल पर गहरा चिंतन होना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी हैं, हम एक एनजीओ नहीं बन सकते हैं। ये बिल्कुल मैं सुहेल सेठ की बात से सहमत हूं कि अगर हम एनजीओ ही बनना है तो हम एक सेकंड एनजीओ ही बनना है तो हम पॉलिटिकल पार्टी क्यों हों। लेकिन एक और इंपॉर्टेंट बात मैं कह के अपनी बात को खत्म करूंगा कि जितने भी पार्टी छोड़ के जाने वाले लोग हैं उनमें गुलाम नबी आजाद पहले ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जो कि सीनियरिटी के हिसाब से गए हैं, वरना जितने भी लोग गए वो लोग गए जो राहुल गांधी जी जिन्हें बड़ा प्यार करते थे, ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया, जितिन प्रसाद, RPN सिंह एंड अशोक तंवर, सुष्मिता देव, डॉक्टर अजय कुमार, ये सारे के सारे वो लोग हैं जो राहुल गांधी सारे के सारे वो लोग हैं जो राहुल गांधी जी के द्वारा किए गए फैसलों में शामिल थे। और विवेक बंसल जी भी राहुल जी के बड़े प्रिय हैं। तो ये बड़ा सवाल हो रहा है कि राहुल गांधी जी के साथ जितने भी लोग जिनको उन्होंने आगे बढ़ाया वो सब धीरे धीरे करके पार्टी छोड़ गए। तो सवाल जो सीनियर और जूनियर के बीच में जो ये डिफरेंसेज है, ये कोऑर्डिनेशन का जो अभाव है, तो ये क्योंकि पार्टी चलाने वाले ही तो ठीक करेंगे, मैं थोड़ी ठीक करूंगा या सुहेल
विवेक बंसल, बहुत वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन। सुहेल 1 मिनट। विवेक बंसल जी,
आपकी प्रेम कहानी गलत है, कांग्रेस की प्रेम कहानी गलत है। कांग्रेस वालों का प्रेम देश से होना चाहिए, इस देश की राजनीति से होना चाहिए, पर कांग्रेस वालों का प्रेम सिर्फ राहुल गांधी से, वही तो प्रॉब्लम है। ये प्रेम कहानी एकदम गड़बड़ हो गई है।
विवेक बंसल जी, द मूट पॉइंट हियर, इफ गुलाम नबी आजाद गोज, आप कह सकते हैं फूका हुआ कारतूस है, he is outlived his utility for the party, you can even write him off if the Congress so wants to be rather brazen about it. But the others who have left and gone are people who would have won elections for you, who are winning elections outside the party. I'm asking you this question: where is the Congress party's internal democracy and recognition of this problem of the younger generation discarding the Congress?
As you said, and I would come back to my earlier answer as well, I would not say that anybody is a chala hua kartoos. Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad also had his relevance at the moment for the party, and anybody who leaves the party is able to leave a void in the party. As far as internal democracy is concerned, let me tell you, I'll cite an example of Mr. Nitin Gadkari. He said something. He said something that politics, you know his statement, what was that? And poor man was discarded from the Central Election Committee. So internal democracy we can talk about. I think the amount of internal democracy which is in the Congress, I can bet on that. In no other party anybody can afford to say or raise a dissent.
This one has a salvo fired at you, Shehzad Poonawalla. Respond.
Not face the anger or rancor of the High Command.
Yes, Shehzad, please respond.
See, all I can say is ताउम्र बंसल और कांग्रेस यही गलती करती रही कि धूल चेहरे पर थी, बंसल और कांग्रेस आईना साफ करती रही। इससे ज्यादा मैं कहूं भी क्या? मैंने 5 साल से इनको बताया इनके अंदर क्या खामी है, पर अगर कोई सच का सामना करना ही नहीं चाहता, and somebody says, those who say that Rahul Gandhi is most loved and he is the most clear, articulate spokesperson and politician in this country, you can imagine what level of disillusionment he lives in. तो मैं उनके आइवरी टावर से इनको नहीं उठाना चाहता हूं। आप अपने आइवरी टावर में रहो। You and Rahul can stay in that ivory tower.
I know, and it suits the BJP fine. But वो कहा भी जाता है, आज गुलाम नबी आजाद ने इतना कुछ लिखा है इस चिट्ठी में। अब इसको आप चाहे कहें कि this is relevant, not relevant, should he have written it before, should he have tried to talk within the party, but the facts that he has quoted here, वो निदा फाजली साहब ने बहुत सही अंदाज में लिखा था कि बात निकलेगी तो फिर दूर तलक जाएगी. So today the word is out. It's going to go far. It will come back to haunt you. You cannot just forget a man who's been in the party for 50 years and expect that what he said in this letter will be forgotten easily or very soon. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.